Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving straight into a massive biological whodunit. It's a mystery that really forces us to look at the very foundation of our species, and it asks a pretty embarrassing question. Why does the most dominant species on planet Earth begin its life cycle acting less like a functioning animal and way more like a helpless potato? It's a wildly fascinating paradox. And by the time we wrap up, you're going to see exactly how our absolute greatest weakness turned out to be the secret to our global takeover.
Right off the bat, let's just appreciate this hilarious comedic contrast in the animal kingdom. You've got a baby horse, right? Up and walking within an hour of taking its first breath. A baby giraffe is standing in 30 minutes. Sea turtles hatch entirely alone on a beach and literally dodge hungry birds to sprint toward the ocean. Meanwhile, a human newborn can't even hold its own head up. If you leave a newborn human alone for just a few hours, it will perish. It can't walk, can't talk, can't feed itself, and frankly, it can't even regulate its own body temperature.
Evolutionarily speaking, this looks like a catastrophic design flaw. It just doesn't make sense. So we have to ask ourselves, why are human babies so useless? How on earth did this ridiculous absolute vulnerability become the defining trait of our early life?
Well, the answer starts with a massive energy drain, 20%. Our brains are huge. An adult human brain weighs about 3 pounds, and even though it's just a tiny fraction of our total body weight, it hogs roughly 20% of our body's entire energy supply. Compared to other primates, our brains are just ridiculously oversized. It is an incredibly expensive piece of biological machinery to keep running.
But hey, there's a serious payoff to being an energy hog. That oversized, demanding brain is exactly what let humans develop language, engage in complex planning, and create culture. It's the whole reason we built sprawling cities, invented airplanes, created nuclear weapons, and literally landed highly complex rovers on the surface of Mars. That is the ultimate return on our evolutionary investment. But there's a catch, a big one. This incredible brain created a catastrophic physical problem that anthropologists call the obstetric dilemma. Evolution basically had to hack together a workaround just to keep us from going extinct. Because sure, an enormous brain is great for building spaceships, but the second our ancestors' brains started getting bigger, they ran into a massive logistical nightmare. The baby still has to somehow come out.
Basically, we evolved two absolutely crucial traits that are locked in a total biological turf war. On one hand, we desperately needed bigger brains for all that incredible intelligence. But on the other hand, we evolved narrower hips. Why? Because to walk upright efficiently on two legs, you need a narrow, bowl-shaped pelvis for balance, which is fantastic for walking, but it is absolutely terrible for pushing out a baby with a massive skull. Think about it chronologically. Millions of years ago, early human ancestors were walking on 4 legs. Their hips were shaped like other apes, and birth was pretty manageable. But then, around 6 to 7 million years ago, we stood up. Standing on 2 legs totally narrowed the pelvis, and eventually, evolution literally hit a brick wall. The baby's head was simply becoming way too large to safely fit through this new, narrower exit. So what does nature do? It hacks a compromise. We can essentially sum it up as evict the baby early and finish the construction job on the outside. Evolution's messy solution was to treat human newborns as external fetuses. We just get them out while they can still physically fit, and then we let that brain wildly double in size during their first year of life in the outside world.
To really put that into perspective, look at this time frame. If we actually waited until our brains were fully developed enough to function independently, just like a baby foal or a chimp, human pregnancies would have to last roughly 18 to 21 months. Can you imagine? And by that point, the baby's head absolutely wouldn't fit through the pelvis. So early eviction was quite literally the only way our species could survive. But arriving half-baked fundamentally changes how our brains work. Think of most animal behavior as pre-programmed hardware. A spider knows exactly how to spin a web. There's no spider school required. A deer knows how to stand. Humans, we completely traded that hard-coded instinct for flexible software. We are born painfully, incredibly flexible. Our brains are unfinished, just actively waiting to download information from our environment.
This idea totally reframes how we should view growing up. Childhood isn't just about getting bigger, it acts as a massive, decade-long downloading period. We're pulling in language, culture, social cues, tools, survival strategies. This is exactly why kids in hunter-gatherer societies aren't fully self-sufficient until their late teens. We are taking years to download the local operating system, giving us the crazy flexibility to thrive whether we're in a frozen tundra, a scorching desert, or a giant modern city.
But, as always with evolution, solving one problem immediately creates another. This incredible flexibility means babies are profoundly unfinished and needy. It creates an exhausting new problem: who protects the baby? Human infants demand constant care. They wake up all night, they have to be carried everywhere. So who exactly is supposed to keep this demanding little creature alive?
The answer is a strategy anthropologists call cooperative breeding. Basically, humans turn childcare into a massive team sport. Mothers, grandparents, older siblings, fathers, aunts, uncles, everybody pitches in. An isolated parent would seriously struggle to keep a helpless child alive on their own. And here's a wild takeaway for you: this shared exhaustion, this collective need to care for a burdensome infant, is actually what helped permanently shape your giant, empathetic, highly social human brain.
And just to make absolutely sure those exhausted, sleep-deprived relatives didn't just walk away from the screaming potato, evolution deployed another brilliant trick. Back in the 1940s, ethologist Konrad Lorenz realized that evolution literally weaponized cuteness. It is a biological hack, specifically designed to aggressively trigger nurturing instincts right inside adult brains.
This hack relies on a very specific geometry: oversized eyes, round cheeks, tiny noses, and massive foreheads. The baby schema. Even people who swear they don't like kids often get completely emotionally hijacked by these exact facial features. Think about it. If human babies looked like hairless, grumpy little goblins with adult bodily proportions, we probably wouldn't keep them around. We are biologically hardwired to love that specific, cute geometry to ensure their survival. All of this brings us to a major, paradigm-shifting question, one that totally flips everything we thought we knew about human evolution on its head. Did our big intelligence cause these long childhoods? Or did long childhoods actually create our intelligence?
Well, the latest research points to a resounding yes for the latter. It turns out that having a long, completely helpless childhood is the exact reason we became so incredibly smart in the first place. When a brain spends years learning and adapting instead of relying on rigid, pre-programmed instinct, it becomes capable of far, far more complex behavior. And the primary way kids do all this complex learning? Play. When kids spend a decade playing, they aren't just messing around. They are running intense mental simulations. They're testing social rules, practicing cooperation, trying out deception, working through complex problem solving. They are basically running advanced physics engines and social simulators inside their own heads to build out their operating system.
So as we wrap up this explainer, I really want you to consider this fascinating thought. Every human civilization, every scientific discovery, every spaceship, it all traces back to a dangerous evolutionary compromise made millions of years ago. Our absolute greatest vulnerability, our total helplessness as infants, gave humans the ultimate superpower. It gave us time. Time to learn, time to adapt, and time to become something no other animal ever could.